All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome to Talking That Talk official podcast. We are the best at what we do. I always like to say that. I'm your co-host, King Exodus, aka X.
What's going on? Well, it's your boy Juice, aka No Other Brother, aka a Rising Pharaoh.
All right. Quick shouts out to everybody that's tapped in via IG Live. And if you haven't do so, make sure you hit that subscribe button. More content is available. So what we talking about tonight, Juice?
Man, y'all, I gotta talk about what's been going on for the last couple of days for myself, man. Like, we didn't have a topic, but on the way here, it just came natural, right? So over the past weekend, like every conversation I have had with women randomly, it's been around the word submissive. And I was like, yo, what's going on? You know, these days with why people keep on feeling like it's a problem to be submissive, or is it something bad, or men weak? And basically, women look at it like if a woman's submissive to a man, she might be weak. I'm like, bro, what's really going on in this world, right? So I remember this post I was reading not too long ago, and a person tried to wrap around submissive with European-centric behavior. I said, I love when people do that, right? Because people still live in a European-centric world. So it's cool to say things like that, but if you still participate in any level of European-centric or westernization culture, you're still part of the problem. If you don't like it, then you have to be able to input another culture or aspects into it. So as this question popped up, like, hey, y'all doing European aspects things by asking women to be submissive, I said, okay, cool. The word submissive first got correlated with the Bible, or as we like to, was very much known. So I asked the woman, I said, hey, so did we know the word submissive to be before, were we reading the Bible beforehand or during slavery when submission acts was taught to us? Just like in slavery, or the man was telling his woman to be, a slave master telling his woman to be submissive to him, and then they would point to the Bible from it, right? So then after that, you know, I'm just asking simple questions. I was like, if we still have adopted European ways and methods till this day from slavery, you can't be mad that people are still somewhat are inputting it into play. And like I said, it's weird that women be like, hey, men who want to submissive women, they're like weak women who don't stand up for themselves, women that don't do that. I was like, okay, that sounds good, but at the same time, women who are submissive are the ones who are winning. I don't know any woman that's submissive and not being appreciated or has not been on a level of protected and provided for. Is, you know what I'm saying? So then, not to be long with it, but then I also had to correlate this with the animal kingdom, right? Mm-hmm. I said, men and women, obviously I said men and women, animals, male or female, they naturally act in their roles without being told to. In today's side, we gotta be like, well, when you're a man, I'll be a woman. Well, when you a woman, I'll be a man. Like, every time I hear that, I'm like, this is the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. I could imagine animals being like, hey, look, when you decide to be a female dog, I'll be a male dog now, all right? So it's bothersome.
Bark on it?
You know what I'm saying? Look, I think that's the craziest shit I ever heard in my life, is people telling them, if you act a certain way, then I'll be a woman. Or if you act a certain way, and then I'll finally be a man. No, it's men like some good people around it. We naturally just know to be ourselves and go out there and produce. If a woman has to tango with me and be like, when you're a man, then I'll be a woman, or I'll be submissive, you're not for me. Because you already limit yourself to, I have to be able to produce and do certain things to get you to be a certain way, and I don't want that.
Okay. I guess a fair question before I get into the conversation. Give me a perfect scenario where a woman submits to a man that's quote unquote taking care of shit the way it's supposed
Okay, well, have you ever run into a woman who be like, oh, well, you know, you can't tell me to talk like that unless you paying some bills? Anything else scenarios like that? Mm-hmm. Or when a woman would tell you like, hey, when the right man comes around, then I'll know to get in line. But see, those are like limited associations. Not limited associations, those are limited actions. And as a man, imagine a man having limited actions. Like, it's weird. That's just like, okay, let's put it like this. That's like me telling a woman, hey, when you become more feminine, I'll start putting on a suit and not wearing this dress anymore.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I get the direction of the conversation.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so I think it's like pros and cons to what we're talking about. I do think that in the positive situations,
Okay.
you feel me? I do believe that the more a man steps into his manhood within a relationship, the woman will kind of follow his lead in the positive situations. So I was listening to a podcast a couple of days ago, and one of the dudes made a comment towards a similar conversation, and he was like, you have to remember, the man is the sun, the woman is the moon. So the moon reflects, I think he said like the moon reflects off the sun or some shit like that. So it's pretty much saying like if you set the pace correctly, the woman will follow that pace correctly. You feel me? So there are some situations where men can set the right pace, and whatever the case be, the woman probably won't follow that pace correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have both sides of the, both sides of the coin. But in a realistic world, I would say, and like I said, in the positive situations, it does happen a lot where men step up and control the pace of the relationship as far as the respect and all that good shit, the submissiveness and all that. But I do believe that men do submit within their own ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think that no man in any relationship can dominate every single scenario or situation that comes about. It's not really possible. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Women gonna have situations that they specialize in, and it'll be vice versa. You know what I'm saying, to men in those relationships. But even Kobe Bryant made an analogy one time with his teammates. He was like, once again, going back to the sun, he was like, the sun has to share the sky. You know what I'm saying? So the sun can't shine all the time. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you have to know when to shine and when it's not your time to shine. But in the negative senses, because I got to attack both sides, you do have some women that won't, like Kevin Samuel say, if you're a wife, you are a wife already. You just have to learn how to be a wife specifically to your husband. Mm-hmm. But you already show those tendencies prior to becoming a wife. You don't just...
The Godfather.
You don't just wake up, snap your fingers, and all of a sudden you know exactly what to do at higher levels of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you practice being at those higher levels when you're not there quite yet.
Okay.
So it is a little bit of, some women may say they act like that out of security for themselves. And some, some say, oh yeah, I'm securing myself. And then some actually understand that they have to put that pace and that energy out there as well in order to be respected in that light. So that's what I got on.
Okay, so cool. So what I'm getting from you is a man must first lead for a woman to be a woman, or a woman can naturally be a woman, and a man can naturally be a man. It takes one to initiate a certain action for one to follow behind it. Is that what you're saying?
Not quite. What I'm saying is,
but you did.
I'm agreeing with you saying you are what you are. Your nature is your nature. There's no arguing that.
Okay.
However, when we talk about the submissiveness and all these things and the man taking the lead in certain situations, you do have a power within the pace that you set as a man.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
I tell people all the time whenever I'm looking to date them or communicate with them, and I let them know, look, I can set the pace so you can set it, and if I don't like it, I'm gonna adjust it how I like it to be. Simply because if I let you set the pace, like I can see you one time a week, then shit, maybe I don't want to see you one time a week. I want to see you 2 times a week. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's that common agreement as well as the interest levels that keep occurring as y'all communicated to let you know, like, hey, this is mutual. So, I don't mind spending more time with you. Absolutely. So,
before we get off that, one more example.
Oh, go ahead.
Let's say you got a man in a relationship, and I'm not going to do the 100% provider aspect just yet.
Oh, no.
But let's say they 50-50. You know what I'm saying? They 50-50 on bills, expenses, whatever, quote unquote.
All right.
You have some women that feel like they probably won't submit unless the man is 100% sole provider. So you do have situations where sometimes you can get that out of somebody and sometimes you can't, just based on realistic standards within society.
Correct.
Economics, quote unquote.
Economics is very important.
Sometimes you have to be realistic in the situation that you're in. Your situation may not call for 100% at that time from a man. It may call for 70-30, you know what I'm saying? whatever the case be. And sometimes that can flop because just because your man is quote unquote 100% man now, it don't mean that he's not going
to maintain
hit a
it
wall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maintain it. So in that scenario, is the woman now correct for not being as submissive, even though he was carrying a larger percent of the role at one point? We just have to be realistic. A famous thread that went around was like a man took care of this woman, put her through college, et cetera, and once she finally graduated, got her degree, got a job, he said, okay, cool, look, I've been seeing a psychologist, and you know what I'm saying, they saying it's best if I, you know, take my foot off the gas, get more in tune with myself and my mental health, you know what I'm saying, so I'm gonna need you to, you know what I'm saying, pretty much do for me what I did for you at one point. She said, fuck no.
Only for a couple months, he asked.
Yeah.
I remember that. It was only for a couple months, I feel like 3 months or something.
Yeah, she said, fuck no. You know what I'm saying? So her whole level of submission and respect just flip-flopped based on what he could provide, even though he already did the ultimate job at providing.
Correct.
So you do have that, some people are just never satisfied key within the conversation. So that's what I got on that.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and throw out one of my experiences growing up as a child. The first two father figures I ever had, I seen as a child, was actually two white men, right? There were two white men, sole providers. Shout out to my best friend Sterling. Shout out to my best friend Benjamin. Now, those are my childhood best friends, right? Now, in their household, as the men were the sole providers, one thing I knew as I got older, the mother, as well as like I said, the mother adjusted to what the father could provide. Only in today's time, as a black man, if you want a sole provider, hey, look, baby, I can only afford this. Is that okay? Nah. See, there's a difference if you want a sole provider and they're only able to provide at a certain level. Can you accept that? Or does it have to be above and beyond? So when, as a child looking at that as I'm growing up, I realized like, yo, okay, these are men that are making so X amount of money, but the wives they both stayed home. They stayed home for the kids, and they adjusted to what the man was able to provide for them. One had 2 kids, one had 4 kids. But like I said, the wife was able to stay at home, maintain the kids. One homeschooled the kids, and one I went to school with personally. But like I said, the man who was the sole provider, the woman understood what he could provide and adjusted to what he can do. And it wasn't like no big argument, no confrontation. They understood maybe they can do vacations once a year, stuff like that. It was never no big idea. It was the load was lifted off. So cool, I can take care of the house. And both mothers was creative. I love both of them to this very day. Both was creative. Both helped me out as well. Gave me a lot of life lessons and teachings. And that's what I feel like is being confused when somebody asks you for a sole provider. Can you adjust to what the man can actually provide for you at that time being as he's climbing up the steps to get things going? Most cannot. So now let me go ahead and switch subjects real quick. You know, we was talking about the sole provider and whatnot. I'm gonna ask you, man, where did you first hear the word submissive from? Where did it correlate or connect in your mind? When you first heard submissive, where was it? Where was it? You heard it. It was in the house. Like I said, for me, it was in the household, but it was also correlated in the Bible, which was, we know the Bible was actually being taught to slaves, and they taught the man and women to submit. And they taught the slaves to submit to their master, and then that same slave master was telling his woman to submit to him. So I gotta ask, where did you first hear it?
I gotta agree with you on that. Like we were saying at the beginning of the conversation, you have to be aware of whose culture you're practicing, why you're practicing it, and the cause and effect that it has on your results, your relationships. No set standard is gonna work for everybody. You know what I'm saying? That's just being realistically speaking. It don't matter if it's written in the Bible or whatever book you're getting it from, that book is not gonna apply to every single individual. And that's not a negative thing. And you have to realize that people taught hierarchy within the households because if you set the correct pace for you to have people follow hierarchy within their household, now you're creating slavery outside of just your slaves submitting to you. You have a chain and command set up outside of that. So it keeps people locked in. It keeps people oppressed, so to say. But I would say that, you know what I'm saying, it's a lot of women that feel like sometimes submitting to the wrong man is settling. And that's
so I get involved with that man.
That's a hot one right there. You know what I'm saying? But case in point, how it relates to the conversation. If you're a man, and like I said, we're not gonna do the provider shit. We're just gonna be like, look, if you're a man and you're not being responsible in particular situations, you can't expect the quote unquote top woman of women. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people.
I give them that.
A lot of people half-ass present their responsibility, accountability, maturity, and relationships, and still expect people to give them that same respect as they would a king, or, you know what I'm saying? It don't work like that. You have to put in the work in order to get that type of respect from not just that woman, but from whoever. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people even want their kids to submit to them in certain particular ways, and if you didn't establish that respect outside of just the nature of respect and that relationship, then you're not going to get that result from that child. You know what I'm saying? People have it in friendships where they want their friends to submit to them in particular situations and give them respect, but they're not respecting the friendship. You know what I'm saying? So you have to respect the relationship in order to get what you want out of the relationship. So that's going to kind of like devil's advocate the whole, some women feel like they are settling if they submit in the wrong situations with the wrong person or whatever. So.
Correct. As you said, we mentioned The Godfather. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. You know I'm a big fan. He talks about submission a lot, and one of the main things I have an issue with when I wouldn't say an issue. I'm not gonna say issue. I'll say it's interesting enough when a woman finds a leader, but she still wants to lead. Right? That's why I made the episode. Can your man be a man by the woman guiding him? Like step by step. No, do it like this. No. Like yo, chill the fuck out. I be wanting to tell people, yo, fall back. Like when I'm in a position of leading, I tell women to fall back. If I want to provide for you, I'm gonna tell you to fall back. If you still being aggressive after a time period, I'm gonna let the whole situation go. Because now I know you want to fight for the lead. That's what I don't understand that. That's why we always say, like, once y'all get these type of men, like, why y'all be fucking it up? Y'all be fucking that shit totally up, right? There's not one time I ever had a woman who do for me. I ain't never took that shit to heart, right? I said this story before. I'm gonna say it again, right? I was one time dealing with a young lady. She slept over. This is at the time period I'm staying at my people's house, like 20. Like 20, 21, one of them ages, right? And I'm working 2 jobs. I'm working at McDonald's, working at FedEx.
2 jobs, okay.
And I tell her, like, hey, I just got called in and asked me to come in for 4 hours. Do you mind me leaving for the time period? She's like, yeah, just go ahead and make your money. Well, I'll see you when you get back. So the 4 hours I was gone, I come back to the house. I go in the room. She's like, hey, funny story, I met your mom. And I was like, oh, shit. She's like, nah, she was cool. She wasn't tripping. She just said, I wish you would have, I would have told her that you was here. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I thought I was going to be in trouble. But then I look over to the left, and all my clothes is floated. I never asked her to do anything. And I was like, yo, what made you fold my clothes? She was like, well, I had nothing else to do, and that's what women do. I was like, and it hit me hard, like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't ask you to do it, right? And she did it out of her natural will. I was just so damn happy. I was just like, look, where you want to eat tonight? It's on me. And she just, and to this very day, she still laughs at that story every time we talk. She was just like, I never had no man, like, be appreciative of the small things like that. I was like, shit, I don't take nothing for granted. Nothing has to be done for me.
Damn, that's a good point. Both men and women have these tendencies sometimes. Some people just really don't understand appreciation in relationships, because like we always say, if you feel like somebody owes you something or is obligated to do it, 9 times out of 10 you won't really appreciate it when it happens.
Not at all.
So yeah, if she would have folded your clothes and you like, well shit, that's what you're supposed to do, you're a woman. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't have been no, what you want to eat tonight, you know what I'm saying? So you got to understand, like, everything is about reciprocating energy correctly.
Man, let me go a little bit on with that story.
Go ahead.
This whole time, woman didn't actually work, right? But I just liked her energy and vibe so much. So every time we linked up, I'm always taking her out. Right? I'm always taking her out, always going to see her. She stayed way on the Southwest before I moved to the Southwest. And then when she finally got a job, she off once. Like, you know what I'm saying? The energy was reciprocated. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, that's all I want to throw in there for a quick sec.
Alright. Well, I was gonna say, some people don't realize, like, okay, you got Martin Luther King, he had Coretta, Malcolm X, he had Betty. Sometimes men like to see certain pieces within themselves, within their counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But then you have to realize, like, if a man needed you to be as dominant as him, you probably would be with a man, right? You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm not gonna agree with that.
What I'm trying to say is, even strong men still want quote unquote good balanced women. Sometimes you can be too strong, sometimes you can be a little bit too submissive. Mm-hmm. Some guys really don't like just overly submissive women. Some guys do. Mm-hmm. Everyone has their own preference.
Right.
So I would say, remember the balance. That's why I brought up like great men and their wives.
Right.
Some wives feel like if I have a great man, and there's nothing wrong with it. Some women feel like, okay, I can be the best version of myself and I can be great too. But some women feel like if he got the spotlight, I have to have equal spotlight.
Attention.
You know what I'm saying? So it really, you have to Steph Curry and I used to
Jada Pinkett.
All right. You got those situations, so it's just like you still have to know, like I say, when to shine and when not to shine. Every single person don't need the same energy in every single relationship choice.
Right.
One man might need you to fold his clothes, the next man might not. You know what I'm saying? Don't wreck your brain, or you know what I'm saying, shoot your. Some women feel like if they can't serve a man in those type of ways, then they don't really know how to value those kind of men because it's new. You meet a man that can do for himself, cook, clean, and all these things, you might feel like you automatically have no value to that man. But like Juice was saying, sometimes you can just do things where you see it can be helpful or thoughtful to even a man that know how to do everything for himself.
Right.
So,
the small example.
Right.
Kevin Samuels said, look, if you work with a man who does business, why not help him out in his business? You go ahead. I just wanted to give you a quick little example.
Yeah, facts.
Right.
You just have to be balanced with your approach. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Not to be long-winded on that. Mm-hmm. If you do come across somebody that's stronger or more dominant than the average woman, those women still have value. I don't follow the whole narrative that women just have to be completely just yes people and yes sir, no sir, and all that shit like that.
No. I remember watching a couple reading and watching a couple of episodes before, and a man used to always bring a particular woman with him when he goes to meetings and boards. The woman was there to read the room, not really not to participate in the business, right? They always say women have a certain way of reading the room that men cannot see.
Correct. So
there's power within having a woman present next to you when you're meeting greets and all that. But you gotta be willing to, like I said, be willing to tap into that type of energy when you have that type of man around you, right? Everybody, no matter, look, this is the crazy part. No matter how good the man is, how good the woman is, y'all both are an asset to each other. Otherwise, y'all wouldn't be with each other. There's value within both of y'all. So we got to get past that, figure that there's no value if one is higher than the other, right? Because in that case, we can't be like, well, why the fuck the millionaire married a Starbucks bitch? You know what I'm saying? So you married a Starbucks chick. Or why is a woman who's 10 times award-winning author talking to the man who coaches a football team? Right? There's value in everything it is. See, once you separate economics classes, then you can see the value of what it is just within that person. But you have people who are so tied up in economic classes, it will only make sense the higher they reached, the higher value they became. Which in some cases, I would say is true, because you can't make $150,000 and not have the accolades behind you, the studies behind you, the discipline behind you in order to do it. Otherwise, if a person that was making $40,000 had it, he wouldn't still be at 40. Okay, that's all I got right now. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so another part of the conversation I believe that's very important: women raising daughters. If
that was you, man. That was you.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're raising your daughter to be quote unquote independent, strong, it's nothing wrong with the intent behind it if it's from a pure place. You know what I'm saying? But some people raise their children based on their own abusive experiences that they haven't balanced out yet. So now you're putting too much of that energy into your child. So I think that's where a lot of this starts. Abused women raise daughters to think like they've already been abused. Instead of teaching them how not to get abused correctly, properly, like you have to learn from your mistakes first before you can teach these lessons to someone else. Right. So a lot of times that's where the ball is dropped. You know what I'm saying? Even with men, I heard one guy in a podcast say I had to stop listening to my father when it came to advice on women because he didn't know how to give him the correct advice. All his advice was fuck a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Don't trust a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Bitches ain't shit. This was the energy. So he was like, all right, I had to learn this shit on my own, crash and burn, because my father couldn't give me the correct energy. Now, could it be a positive to that? Hey, watch those women, because sometimes they can be bitches. That would have been a lot better. Right. You know what I'm saying? Versus just fuck them all. So you have to be careful with how you handle your own abuse prior to trying to give that energy to your child, whether it be your son or your daughter. So
okay, that's what's up. I like this. That's very true. You know, let me give me a quick second, real quick, y'all. You know, quick second. There was an episode Kevin Samuels just did over this, like where women was being reflected on. Right here, it says it's her mother's fault, right? And he did a wonderful job. I'm gonna be honest, he did a wonderful, magnificent job.
Yeah, I was just watching that.
And the breakdowns he had of the patterns of the mothers, it made 100% sense. You know, I even seen it within my family, within a couple different mothers within it. So I would definitely advise everybody, like, if you don't like them, please just watch 30 minutes of that episode. It's gonna blow your mind, and it makes a lot of sense on why some of y'all are the way you are with your mothers, right?
Don't forget to keep his lights up.
Yeah, keep his lights up. Hey, you know what? Keep our lights up. Hey, we're gonna have to shut this down. We're gonna yeah, hey, when we get monetized, we shut the things down. But I had to get back on subject, man. I gotta ask, man, why is submissive so bad? I don't think I heard you connect on that. Why is the word submissive bad? Why has it been programmed in some people's minds as a man who just want to dominate a woman? What happened? What made it bad? Because I need to cut you off. Saying submissive, right? Only when it comes to relationship is bad, right? But if I say in a different term, like the BDSM, a submissive person, they love that shit. I had to do it, man. I had to do it, man. I had to do it, man.
When it's beneficial to
shit, you know, they submit.
Pick and choose.
They don't want to submit in a relationship, so they'll submit in their bedroom.
And going back to Kevin Samuels, man, he had a guy on his show that dated this woman that made more than him by far, like degree-wise, everything by far. And he was like, man, she always arguing with me, and you know what I'm saying, the only time we get along is when we're having sex. And then so I asked him, what do you do? And he was like, well, I'm an Uber driver. And he was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, he was listening to him at first, but then when he told him what he did, he was like,
an Uber driver in a position.
Like, bro, that's the only place she can submit to you is in the bedroom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why you fucking having all this shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you always got to know when you're over your head.
Right. Now, let me piggyback what you said. This is where we took this is the difference between men right now, right? There was a comment he said, and I understood 100%. Some of you men can only dominate in the bedroom, but nothing else in life. And that's why like, the only place you can dominate is in the bedroom. You ain't dominating on the balance sheet. What's your money look like? Right. You know, what's your accolades look like? What awards have you won? What degrees do you have? What certificates do you have? That's why all your domination is only in the bedroom, and they don't give a fuck about you in real life. Like that's like why would I ask about your day if all you can do is just fuck? Let's be real, man. Let's be real, man.
What he gonna say is, look, so on 2K today, I got a championship. No, it was bullshit. So one, I think relationship that fits the show is BMF. You have Meech's father.
Ooh.
His woman submits to him. Okay? But that's not good enough in certain situations. You know what I'm saying? He wants everyone in the household to submit equally as the wife submits. And it's kind of hard because, you know, the son's really the providers, quote unquote. Right. So, you know what I'm saying? You have to just think about certain situations. I think in those scenarios, he wanted more submission than what he can afford. Feel me?
Right. I was just about to get to that point. I was just about to get into it. You got to, go ahead.
Yeah, so a lot of times character counts is beautiful. Morals, integrity, all these things is part of a man. You feel me? But if you don't have the resources available,
right,
sometimes you're still going to be imbalanced and you're not going to get the results that you want. And it's not saying that everything is about money, because you have some men that all they have to provide is money.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
He got a point right there. He got a point right there.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to remember the balance. Just like we was talking about the balance in women, you have to have a balance as well between being realistic and ambitious with your resources and also having that character to back up the resources.
Right. So one thing I'll also say about that show, what it also taught me as well as Cameron Sever's been saying, like, if you can relieve majority of the bills, the less stress a woman will have on her mind. Right? We got to remember that.
And she got time to go through your phone.
Yeah, she ain't got time to go through your phone. I guess, man. But it kind of hit me in the head like that, right? Before. I remember one time, like, asking a woman, just randomly, you know, I'm one of those people that like to, like, I'm curious. I'm curious, and I like to ask certain questions. I'm interested in getting perception. Mm-hmm. I said, as a man, if I took care of the household and only asked you to pay for maybe the Wi-Fi and electricity, would that be a problem? They said, no, that wouldn't be a problem at all. It's like, what, $200?
Okay.
But it's interesting, right? All right. So if the load is not as equal to the rent or the mortgage, some women can do it, right? That's why some people are like, I'm not 50-50, I do 60-40, 70-30, 75-25. They let you know they're willing to pitch in, but what are they going to be pitching in on? That's the main thing. So once you get that all correlated and figured out when it comes to these finances, like, move effectively, right? So even in my mind now, right, I'm getting ready to make another step in my life, you know. Like I said, we're getting ready to move and make some things happen. And finally hit my mind, I said, if I'm going to be doing this, then technically, I don't need to do this anymore, right? So meaning, like, let's say you're a man and you're paying like $1,500 a month for rent, right? If a woman moves in, if you're already paying that load, I would just ask her to take care of the other stuff besides it. But see, when we have another person step in, then we want to be like, all right, well, since you stepping in, can you take this much off, right? But if you already been paying that certain amount of mortgage or apartment for $1,500 by yourself, personally, me, it's up to me to be like, oh, I can continue doing it, or I'll be like, hey, just take care of the Wi-Fi and electricity, and the food, and we good. Because then, look, you're already doing it. Yeah, I think we have the mind mentality these days. It's like, whatever we're paying for, if a person comes in present, then they automatically need to take half. But if we're effectively been doing it by ourselves, hey, like, the extra stuff, just let them take care of that. I feel like if we do that more as men or relationship or in a stance like that, that'd be more effective. Now, however, if we're in a role like, hey, I'm paying like $1,200 a month in rent or whatever, or mortgage, and you want to move up to something $1,500, $2,000, and I'm letting you know, hey, this is my lifestyle, what I can afford. But hey, if you want to move up, then I might need you to pitch in a little bit more because I only can afford what I mean. That should be able to be cool too. Like, as long as you communicate with your partner effectively, I don't see nothing wrong with it. But when you finally can reach that level and provide for everything, hey, congratulations to you, man, black man, white man, whatever.
Teamwork makes the dream work, guys.
Yes, it does.
That's the moral to the whole situation. But sometimes, like we said, like I said throughout the conversation, you still have to be ambitious, and that should reflect within what you want out of people.
Correct.
But you still stay true to your nature as what you are, man, woman, whatever the case be. It's nothing wrong with having levels to it, that you present at different steps and stages. There's nothing wrong with that. But some people just take the shit too far. Alright, so y'all people that take the shit too far, find out where you went wrong at. You know what I'm saying? Were you raised wrong? Are you following everyone else's standards and expectations? Or are you following your own? Are you in a relationship that you want to be in? Or you're in a relationship that people say you should be in? Like, a lot of people come across good people, but since they don't make the cut to their family or their friends, well, they'll let that person go.
Okay.
You feel me? So you have to know, what are you doing and why are you doing it, as far as this whole submissive shit in relationships. Set your own pace, control your own relationships based on how you see fit, not what people say you should do. So.
Okay, so I also got, like this is going to be a subject we're going to talk for a minute. Unless he ready to go. Well, anyway, the things I find interesting, right? Some women like the leader role so much that they'll marry the person that's the opposite. But when they get that person, they're just like, well, I don't like this position no more. Like, why you don't want to step up no more? I like you basically dating your counterpart. Like, that's who you was compatible with. Because anytime I'm, like I said before, I'm in a conversation, or I'm engaging with a woman, and things start to get hectic or get a little too masculine, let them know, hey, look, I need you to fall back. I don't like that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just the point, I like peace. And if I feel like, and I said this episode before, if you start getting masculine, and you talking to me like you're another man, it can trigger me in a way like, oh, you think you a nigga now?
Huh? So you gonna pop out?
Nah, I ain't never put my hands on a woman. But
hit her with a phone book.
Hit her with a phone book. You see that dude hit that chick with a sandwich and that wig came off.
Nice.
No, yeah, I gotta send you that, man. But I'm saying, like, I like to avoid any type of conversation with a woman, because when it comes to a man and a woman, the man gonna be taken away immediately, especially if you're a black man. And she called the cops, even if she wrong, black man going right, and the man going right there instantly.
He yelled at me.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I want to avoid confrontation. I like peace, but at the same time, if we're communicating and we're both getting loud, then I already broke my character by allowing myself to get loud. But at the same time, I understand, depending on who I'm involved with, I have to match energy with energy or go above or beyond it to make somebody understand. But if I got to break character, that's something I don't like doing. So, well, I'll say this. Is it really survivor mode that keeps people like this? Because you said some women are raised independently from their mom, because their mom was in survivor mode. Let's be honest, bro. If that woman that's single, not making shit, 60 and up for her kids, and she has multiple, she's still in survivor mode. Because she still got to do everything on her own, point blank, period. The reason I said 60, I'm just throwing that out there hypothetically, because we don't know everybody regional graphics and stuff, economics, so I don't know how much what it costs. But survival mode is going to always stay instinctually in a woman's mind if she's been doing everything on her own. I done met too many women right now that's still in survival mode, and this is how they ever feel they'll be, period. And I was just like, yeah, that's not healthy when you actually have a man that's going to step into the picture. Because if he steps into the picture, you still acting like that, he might back up. Because you already feel like everything is going to be like, if I slow down now, he might try to take advantage of me and da. Go ahead.
There's nothing wrong with being in survival mode. You have to survive. But you have to know when to hit the switch. Some people just savage all the time, and that becomes toxic, negative, because every situation don't cause for you to be a savage. So you take it to, like, you can correlate that with, like, the streets. Like, sometimes people are so much in survival mode that they start losing their humanity within that process. So only you can check yourself and know when you've lost too much of yourself, too much of your humanity. In some situations, you have to throw it away, but in some situations, you need it on the table.
Okay.
So that's my response on that. And the analogy, the example would be like, look at somebody like Ghost. You feel me? When he needed to be a savage, he was savage. a lot of the times where he needed
That's the light switch.
to be a human and be a man, he was able to switch.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he didn't, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of times he was able to switch. A lot of his foes, if you pay attention, didn't really have that same switch.
Nope.
That gave him more of a strength and an advantage. You feel me? So you still have to be balanced, even in survival mode. Mm-hmm. You have to be realistic. And one thing I was going to add to the conversation is, don't lead too much and then think people know when to read your mind and read when you want to submit. So what I'm trying to say is, sometimes I've been in personal situations where I could get so close to a woman and have such a distinct relationship and connection that sometimes I will forget that she's still a woman. You feel me? And sometimes women step up so much that, you know what I'm saying, they expect people to read their mind when they want to step down. It can be something simple as plans. A woman can make
plans. Hey, look, that's one of the easiest ones.
A woman can make, you know, damn near 95% of the plans. You know what I'm saying? But then she could be emotional over the fact that she's making all those plans and then expect you to read her mind and step up and step into that situation and do like more than 10% or 20% of the plan making, but she's already consistently showing you these habits. Right. So what I'm trying to say is, you still have to be balanced. You can't always present yourself dominant and then expect people to automatically know when you're not and you're dominant.
Correct.
Because eventually people are going to label you as being a dominant person.
See, I would also have to, when it comes to that relationship, bro, I also like to get the understanding of like, are you expecting to go out once a week, twice a week? That's another thing. Once you understand the outings and percentage of like how you maneuver, how it is, right? So I had I can tell Juice Day. I can tell Juice Day.
Juice get around.
So, man. So look, talk to a woman. You know what I'm saying? Talk to a woman. Talk to a woman. You know what I'm saying? I can't be like throwing things out there. And she was like, "Oh, you're supposed to take me out." I was like, "I'm supposed to." Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? I you know what I'm saying? I did. Look, I'm gonna be honest. I did talk to the lady. I said, "Hey, look, you know, I understand you do out here, but hey, look, I'm gonna take you out and show you around Houston one."
Just say what?
You know what I'm saying?
I'm supposed to.
So she asked me like straight up, like, "Hey, where we going?" I said, "Hold on."
Damn.
I said, "Look, this is how I do dates.
Shut up and ride.
I'll let you know to wear something casual. I'll let you know wear something dressed up, presentable. I'll let you know the type of activity. Other than that, you're just gonna meet me there. Like if I gotta tell you everything, like no, I'm the type. I'll let you know the attire and you show up. That's why. Then I asked. I said, "Do you like activities? Like, do you mind like rock climbing and stuff? I love it. Cool. Now I know I can mix different type of dates in. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, like stop asking me where we going. Like I'm gonna just let you know the attire and you come how you want to."
Hey, not done that, man. KO. Round one. Finish him. KO. Nah,
man, and that's it, man. Like, cause I'm getting to a point like if a person gotta know every time like what we gotta do, this and that, I'm not gonna want to do it. And then see, but I went down the list. I asked, "Are you into activities?" I said, "Are you allergic to any type of foods? Do you like to go to after hours?" I was like, "Do you prefer like hood spots, like middle class spots, openings?" I see when I do all these questionnaires, I can maneuver how I want to do after that point, right? Because then that gives her space. Like that gives her space. Like, hey, me. Then she can reverse it on me if she wanted to. Like, hey, meet me here, and you can wear this, right? Sneakers, or you can wear like, hey, for this you might want to wear like loafers or dress shoes or some type of boots. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I feel like it's a different way to maneuver in dating, where you don't have to apply the location till it's time. Just let them know what to wear. That's just me.
Real quick add on to that, and I'm done. Trust. Trust and observation. You have to observe the way a person is moving, and trust that if they're moving in that direction, that's what they're going to continue to do, and you have to know how to respond. You know what I'm saying? So. But some people want to respond how they want to respond. If a person is showing you the correct actions, you have to trust the process. But if you need to know everything every step of the way, it's not establishing that much trust within the process. So it's still like you being dominant, whether you realize it or not, because that's You know what I'm saying? Some people say in order to be successful, you got to jump.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that don't succeed,
dive off the deep end.
Yeah, the people that don't succeed is the ones that still calculating the jump. They need to know the landing possibilities, the flow of the wind. You know what I'm saying?
Belly flop or doing
Yeah, they still practicing how to jump.
Cover my nose or.
So that's all I got on that.
Okay, cool. So like I said, we will start this thing for a while, man. Do you feel like men should submit or be submissive, or can you give me a type of action a man should be willing to take in order to be submissive? Right. So, no, that's it.
All right. Yeah, I would say, man, submission is a two-way street. It might not be like even all the time, but it's a two-way street.
It's a two-way street.
Like I said, I love the show Vikings. What made King Ragnar different from a lot of kings is that he had a warrior woman, and he allowed her to strategize alongside before war. So not only was she a warrior, but she was cerebral. So what good would it be to have a warrior type woman that's cerebral and yet still submissive, but since she has those other two qualities outside submission, you throw her away. You know what I'm saying? So I think for every great man that wants to be like, king, like you have to have a queen. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people that he was fighting, they had women they was married to, but they didn't have the queen mentality. Or if they had the queen mentality, it was out of selfishness. Like they was worried about themselves more so than their husband, the king.
Are women mercenaries? That came to my mind by Kevin said, sounds like yeah, man. That was a great episode because they say mercenaries are on the lookout for themselves.
Right.
And as he said, like they looked out for the selfish people. Mercenaries are the same way. They look out for themselves, right? We go on a mission. You pay me. We do what we do. And next thing you know, hey, the job's done. The person might pay me to come get you next. Hey, I got paid. I don't owe you no loyalty. That's what people don't understand. Like that's some real shit. Some people are really mercenaries without actually killing people. You only look out for yourself. Wow. Whoever's paying for you, you're gonna stick with them, right? That's just like, as long as a man provides, you'll stay by his side. But when he can't provide, you're out to the next person who's gonna hire you. Technically, because you get paid for your service. Well, yeah.
Is that home?
I mean, shit. I mean, she's in the house. Is she still?
Yeah. I mean, good on, bad on. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, shit.
I ain't gonna talk about home tonight, but yeah, I'm cool on that one. If you ain't got nothing else on that.
I mean, no, that's pretty much it, man. I don't want to go in too hard, man.
All right. As always, we appreciate your time. Make sure you lock in and subscribe to the channel. We out.